Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Can you see the top of my head?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Take a tall, comfortable seat. And if super crossed legs don't feel particularly good, give yourself a little more space. Do something, if one leg feels a little more stiff, extend it. Extend both legs.
Would you close that curtain?
Do something, again, in your seat that allows you to sit comfortably. The word asana in yoga literally translates to seat. So if you could think of the poses that we practiced tonight as when we come into the pose and take our breaths there to be more comfortable in it, do that with the thought that you're really coming to that pose and taking a seat within that pose, whatever it is. And allow yourself to tune in as you sit in that position. And notice if you get a little stiff in certain places. You don't have to stay that way. You can provide a little movement, right? As we sit here in this seat, maybe you start to shift. Even if you watch your candle, the candle moves, right? The flame, it moves, it breathes, it flickers, right? It contracts, it expands. The flame rises. The flame might sink a little, dim a little, and then it may rise again. So if you notice, my spine is starting to take those actions. And I start to sit forward and then start to pull back. Join me in creating those movements of flexion forward, extension upward, right? Extension laterally, which means side extension, feeling that stretch along the side of your body. We create balance, yes, in our seat, so that we can move and breathe smoothly. And then let's continue and start to circle spine, trunk circle. Moving again smoothly with our breath. And change direction. Notice how the breath is filling more fully into your belly, ribs, and chest. And still your body. Place your hands on the ground behind you and lift your heart and expand. Lean your head back gently. And again, maybe a little shift side to side. Don't let the movement confuse you. Instead, let it help you create more balance, more equilibrium throughout your body. And now let's stretch forward. And again, I play with that subtle movement, a little side to side action. Noticing the stretching sensations happening as you shift. And hands walk back again, extend legs forward, chest expansion. take 3 deep breaths, right? Really fill up inhalation, sit to the top, and empty out your exhale completely. A little forward bend in our seats. Let's not overdo it, my friends. Let's focus on a good stretch through our legs, right? It's not straining. And our spine, instead of rounding, is lengthening. And then we're melting into the folding action gently. And we look forward again. Look upward as you lean backward into your handprints, chest expanding stretch. There's a little bit of arcing, right? That arcing action in the spine. In yoga, we call that the back bending family of asanas that we're coming in to greet this evening. That said, go ahead and have us take a moment to sit. Oh, it's probably feeling pretty tight. Thighs, maybe. If that's happening, you can lean forward, take a little bit of the sting out. Honor your body. A little virasana. May we sit up tall. Shoulders back. Tune into your breath. Hands to mat. And give your back end a little sway, right? We are in our tabletop position, balanced body. Exhale into your cat pose. Inhale into your cow pose. We're drawing those spinal curves. And when we take that cow variation here, you can feel back bend and chest expansion coming into play, right? Priming those actions as we move and breathe. Think of one breath, one movement here. Exhale takes cat form. Inhale takes the cow form, the back bend. All right, tabletop again. Let's meet neutralizing the spine and hips here. Please bring your right leg forward and give yourself, a good firm footprint with your right foot at the front of the mat. Balance. And use your hands to balance. Comfortably position your left leg behind you because you're striking down some energy through the left leg behind you to help you rise. Right, so we're coming into where the hip flexor, now it's opening, right? Iliopsoas, getting a good stretch here. Steady. Notice I'm lifting heart, drawing in belly, and leaning back just a little bit here in our lunging pose to perhaps meet a little bit of back bend if that feels good for you. And now hands to the ground. Or you can stay on handprints, right? Honor your body. We've done this, if you've tuned in for candlelight yoga before, we've done this pose, lizard pose, right? Hands come down to the ground. Or you drop to your elbows if you're feeling particularly flexible this evening. And now ease back, right? Tail slides back to the center of the mat and your right leg, your lead leg, extends, deepening the hamstring stretch up the back of your leg. Balance is beautifully a very key action here, right? We don't want to teeter to one side. Hands, fingerprints, great props that are with us all the time to help us create more balance in these asanas, right? Within these seats that we take. And let's lower our right foot back to the ground, right? And we'll draw it back, change legs. Bring your left foot to the front of the mat. Lay down your left footprint firmly. Strike down through the right leg to rise up. Right, tall and strong through the belly, like a corset's been applied through your midsection for support. And then maybe you flirt with a little bit of lean back, maybe. Okay, I'm gonna turn this to the side. Right, just, I'll say, dripping into the back bend. And now let's lower back to the ground. Hands down or elbows down, your choice. Consider that there is balance across your shoulders, across your hips. All right, now, may we ease back, slide back into our Ardha Hanuman, right? The hamstring stretch or half split. Balance your base and then lay down hands or fingerprints to help you balance as well. And then we breathe and we tune in. Now go ahead and step down, right, into your left footprint. And we'll draw back, coming onto bellies and elbows. Sphinx pose. Steady down through your elbows. Broaden across your shoulders. Maybe you let a smile broaden across your face as well. And we breathe. And we're really using the ground beneath us to help steer the body into length, elongation from your toes, up the front of your belly, through your sides, along the spine, like a string of pearls. unfurling and untangling. And now comfortably, right, hands plant, right? They're not forward so far, not back so far. Comfortably placed so that I can plug in my shoulders and give a little push. Straighten arms, lift belly, and I'll also say lift hips upward here. It's just a nice stretch. It's kind of a meeting of a cobra and a seal. Crazy, huh? All right, lower to the ground, all the way down. And push up all the way. Maybe you feel a little heart lift, eyes lift, hips drip, lower to the ground. Again, the beautiful thing about this action, this upward rise, this back bending action, which it is shoulders are low, right? Shoulders are steady and stable. And it's not easy, is it? It's a little bit hard. Challenging. I hope you're comfortably challenging. On an edge, but not falling over. Slowly lowering. And now you can adjust your handprints, give, a few wrist rolls, finger moves if you're feeling any tension in the wrist space. Up and back to child's pose, balasana. Allow your breath here in child's pose. Allow your breath to help you iron out any rounding or slouchy feelings that you might have in the spine. Then you can go ahead and kind of, I like to say unfurl, like slither out onto your belly. Again, belly and elbows, Sphinx pose. And here, bend legs, right? Bend knees, toes, lift, point to the ceiling when we bend our knees. We can feel that flexion of legs happening. And then you flex your legs, right? Leg bends at the knee. And then you extend by lifting with your rear, with your glutes, your derriere. And that's a lift. That's quite a movement to engage the glutes and the hips in hip extension. All right, let's put it down. Bend, knee flexion is bending. Hip extension is using the glutes and hamstrings to lift. Keep it up. And release, relax. Give your hips a little shake, a little movement, a little roll. And back to center. So we're going to use the knee flexion. Let's do the other side. Knee flexion. So this is our right side. Reach back for the right foot. And instead of lifting, let's get low, heavy low. Even your hip, right? Your right hip feels incredibly heavy in the moment. So does your forehead. All right, look forward and change sides, right? So we lift the face, we change, we center, and we drop back in for another few deep breaths. surrendering to the heaviness of our front body, of our entire body, into the ground. All right, we look forward. Change again. We're going to add in a little bit more. So we are gripping or binding to the foot. Hand to foot is a bind in yoga. We have knee flexion because we did that to catch the bind. And now we're adding a little bit of extension, right? Extension. What feels good in the spine upon hip extension? So there's just a little bit of lift using the glutes back there. Change sides. And add that little bit of lift. All right, now let's put it together. We grip both feet and let's go heavy. Release. Notice right now if your shoulders are feeling particularly droopy to the ground, give your shoulders a roll back. And then lift your face, lift your heart, and lift your feet, right? Taking our bow pose. And then lower your thighs to the ground and lower your forehead down. And release your feet back to the ground. Hands placed by the sides of the rib cage, and we push up again into length of body. So here, you're steady arm balancing, hand balancing. Toes lengthening. You can feel the length of your abdominal wall increasing. Breathe deeply, as if you're filling up your front pockets with those deep breaths that you're taking. And slowly lower to the ground. Push up and back to child's pose. In this child's pose, give yourself some room to breathe so your knees don't have to be tight together. Give your thighs a little space so that the barrel of your belly, ribs, and chest, because it's volumes that you're filling, that space can fill upon your deep breathing. Now to all fours position, right? We rise, we balance. And let's take a downward facing dog pose, like first one tonight. Let's see how it feels. Please hang in there for 3 more deep breaths in your downward dog, in your Adho Mukha Svanasana. And after that 3rd deep breath, empties. Knees to the ground, coming back to our tabletop position. We'll bring right foot to the front of the mat. Let's come into our Kneeling, right? Kneeling leg, kneeling lunge. If this pose is tough on your knees, putting some padding, maybe folding your mat a few times, a little pillow. If you have a towel with you, a little extra cushion can assist, can be a nice assist. So we balance and we strengthen through the core and we uplift through our heart and maybe start to draw that little bit of back bend action. And slowly hands come back down to the mat for lizard variation. Ease back into right leg extension for Ardha Hanuman. And as you're breathing, may you really notice the good stretches happening. And if it doesn't feel like a good stretch, dial it back to the place where it did, right? Honor your body. That's like the first rule of yoga, shall I say? Ahimsa. It's part of it. Now, let's slide our leg back. All fours again, we balance, we come to that point of ease. And then we change sides. Left foot steps forward. Striking downward energy through your left foot, through your right lower leg and foot. Those strike down points help you balance and center. Deciding whether neutral spine, just vertical, feels good, or if adding a little bit of back bend might feel good. And hands down to the mat, and we extend leg. Ardha Hanumanasana, the half splitting pose. One more deeply filling breath, filling volumes. And we shift our left leg back. Let's take a child's pose. And sliding or extending back out onto your belly and elbows, where we meet Sphinx pose yet again. This is our third round with the Sphinx. Maybe you feel a little wider across your shoulders and heart space, right? More open. Right, you've probably heard the term heart openers and shoulder openers. They live here in back bending poses, those actions. And now hands come back to the sides of the rib cage. Plant your hands so that they feel good and balanced when you rise, right? Arms are straightening, stretching. I'm not going to say locking because a lock joint isn't a strong joint. So little bits of micro bend are important when you're balancing, right? Still remaining with that essence of agility is important to not stiffen. Stay a little bit supple. Lowering to the ground. All right, let's go for the right leg. Let's catch again. Forehead rest. Let's be heavy as we hold our bind. But as you surrender to that sense of heaviness, if your right shoulder feels really droopy and round, lift and roll your shoulder back as you are surrendering to the heaviness. Yoga is always dynamic. There's always so many beautiful things happening. Let's take a subtle shift of sides again, translating this to the left. Noticing if the left shoulder is rounding down. Let's add a little bit of lift, right? Shoulder retraction is happening. Roll it back. All right, for the moment, raise your head again to release your left hand and reach back, right? Bow pose. And if you like, you can give a little rock. But again, as I said earlier, don't let the movement confuse you. Let it actually guide you into a better sense of balance within the asana that you're practicing. And now release and slowly return to your child's pose position, Balasana. And just for the moment, raise your heart and face again from the ground. Please take your right arm, reach across the room, balancing on your outer right shoulder, the right temple. Left arm can extend forward, thread the needle pose. Slowly rise and change sides, balancing on the outer left shoulder, left temple. Balance created through your body as we breathe deeply in our thread the needle pose. All right, let's just translate again. Let's move thread the needle back to the right side. And as you lay down your weight into the right shoulder and right side of the temple, track what your back end is doing and center your tail, right? A centered feeling, a lengthening of spine, a little revolution of the heart upward as we stretch and breathe. Right, let your breath fill up every bit of the form your body's taken. And now please change sides. Move the thread the needle to your left. And slowly we come out of the pose and have a seat again, right? Comfortably cross-legged, same position that we started in, coming full circle. Realign. Hopefully shoulders feel broader, as does your heart space, right? The front door of the heart and the back door of the heart. The back door of your heart lives on your right at your shoulder blades, where they give a squeeze together at the back, right? Pretend I put a walnut right at the back of your shoulder blades. And squeeze that walnut gently to activate those gorgeous muscles that comprise that space, that zone of the back door of the heart, right? Broad, and now they're contracting together. And when the shoulder blade space contracts, right, the back door of the heart closes, the front door of the heart, the chest, shoulders open. And now let's play a little bit with closing the front door of the heart. That broadens the back door, they open. So you get that cat action in your seat. And then you close, right? Close the back door of the heart, and the front of the heart opens and rises. There's just such a beautiful relationship in that thoracic space. That said, please lie back on your mat. And let's use that action to take a bridge pose. And balance your body as you breathe deeply in this bridge form that you've built. One more deep breath, friends, one more. And then release and relax, bottom to ground, extend your legs, extend your arms, widen, right? Expand across your floor. And relax, right? It really is, it's your final relaxation pose. We call it Shavasana. Your breath filling 360 degrees of your body space, right? Fully filling. Breathing as if you were delivering oxygen to every cell in your body. Balancing those breaths, their lengths. smoothing the breath action. Now is the time to find balance. Life rushes between the mundane and madness. Contentment is often found in moderation. Balance is elusive, but simply seeking it allows you to avoid excesses. Don't make it a contest. Allow things to happen naturally. You'll be surprised how often they center themselves and open up to vast possibilities. Be moderate in order to taste the joys of life in abundance. And may you find more joy in the depths of breath that you explored this evening. Thank you for being here, for showing up, for trying. And please know that I'm trying really hard with all this tech stuff that comes along with yoga teaching these days. So again, thank you for growing and being with me, showing up. I appreciate it. Namaste.